Okay, welcome to the worksheet. That's what we're going to look at today. So I'm just going to run through this. Not going to spend a whole lot of time in the actual note because you can read it. But basically, I want to highlight something here is that this is not a financial statement. It is an organizational tool. It is something that is used to, basically, we're using it to update our balance sheet, and we're not using it for anything else. So it's not a formal financial statement, just like the transaction analysis sheet, so you don't have to worry that much about the what do you call that stuff, formatting, but still good for practice. Okay, look at that in a second. We'll look at that same. Oh, I'm going to go back for a second here. So for the month ended, okay, month ended again, right? That is important. That it's at a period of time, not a snapshot. So it's not like the balance sheet, it's more like the income statement. What else? This is basically what we're doing is we're updating the owner's equity, transferring the amount that was either made or lost from the income statement to change the owner's equity, whether that's increase or decrease depending on whether the income from the income statement was positive or negative. Okay, yeah, you can read that. And then just making sure, so that's the textbook work. I'm also going to put up a bunch of different examples on D2L as well that you can try as well in addition to these questions. And then we're going to come up with some kind of testy kind of thing. Not really sure exactly what it's going to look like, but possibly assignments. So anyway, we'll look it up. So there's that part. I'm going to move on to showing you an example now. All right, let's take a look. So we've got our worksheet here. It's the example you can see on D2L. So first thing you want to do is you want to take the numbers from the trial balance and you want to put them in the proper accounts where they belong. Okay, so I'm just going to move that one out of the way. So remember that all the way until you see drawings, right? That represents balance sheet. Is above here. Nice little BS up there. And down here is the IS, the income statement. Okay, so there's no drawings in capitals, last one, but okay, so the border is capital or drawings. So first thing we do is we move their totals over. So here we have a debit 1400, moving it from here. Okay, accounts receivable goes on the same side because that is a 0. And supplies goes on the same side as well. Equipment, delivery truck, those are all assets. And then we've got accounts payable. Accounts payable is a liability, goes on the credit side. We've got our loan, and we've got our capital account. Okay, and then remember that our drawings, make sure the drawings goes on the debit side, not on the credit side, because the debit takes away from the capital account. Okay, so we've got those moved over. Now we're going to move over our income statement accounts right there, income statement. So you've got your sales. So that is 9,000, then expense 6,000, rent 500, miscellaneous 540, office 255, telephone 125. Okay, so once we have that all done, now the next step is for us to add together the income statement so we can update the balance sheet. Okay, later on when we do this, this is going to be a little more complex. This is where we're going to do adjusting entries. So you're going to have to get used to using the worksheet because it's going to be around. It's not like the other ones that I told you that just disappear. It's going to be around. So here, right, so we have our subtotal line. Oh, I forgot to put the dollar sign there. Okay, and we're going to add those together. So 6,000 plus 500 plus 540 plus 255 plus 125. Okay, so we've got 7,420. Then we've got this one. We've got the other side, the credit side, and it totals $8,970. Okay, so you can see those two are not the same. Okay, so what is the difference between them? So you take the bigger number, right, whichever one it might be. In this case, it is the revenue side. So you take the revenue and you subtract the expense side, and you get 1550, which is going to then equal 8970. So now we've got that all sorted out. And again, 8970. So these are our final totals. Yeah, I know these aren't straight, but those are our final totals there. I'm going to get rid of that. Sorry, I'm just going to rewrite this one. This should be, oh my goodness, what did I do? I just want that line there. There we go. Okay, so that's the first thing we do. So what we've done is we've taken the revenue. So if there's more than one revenue, of course, you'd add those together, and you put the total down here. Should be right this line where the other totals are. Right, that's where you put the total of the column, and then you do all the expenses. Whichever number is bigger, you subtract the smaller number from it, and then you add that total. Then the answer to that gets added back on. So that was the difference between these two numbers. So that's why we've got it over here, and we've got these balanced. So these need to balance. Okay. What? I don't know how apparently I'm spelling Bahamas and not balance, but here we go. So they have balance. Balance. Okay, now we deal with our balance sheet. Okay, so we've got our balance sheet, and we take those and we add them all together. Okay, so again, we're going to add our debit side. So we're going to take 1,400. We're going to add 2,035, and we're going to add 960, and we're going to add 1,500, and then we're going to add 7,800. Okay, that's all of those ones. Oh, and then we're going to add $1,000. I almost forgot myself. $1,000. Okay, for the drawings. So our total down here becomes $14,695. And we're going to do the same for the other side. So we're going to start with 1,245, and we're going to add 1,400, and we're going to add 10,500 from that to that, should say, and we get 13,145. Now, if you get a lower number on the income statement part for the debit, which means your expenses are lower, that means you're going to get a lower number on the credit side of the balance sheet. Now that makes sense because if you get a lower number over here, and this is higher, it means you made money on your income statement, therefore you're going to add to this side. Okay, so that side should start out smaller. So I had a question during the Monopoly assignment. I mean, how is the trial balance supposed to balance? Well, it balances because you're adding the money that you made over that period of time to your capital account, which is the balance point for the increased cash and increased whatever your assets that go up. So in Monopoly, you'd get more rent payments, and you get more assets you'd buy with your money and all that stuff, which means you'd be worth more, which would balance the two out. So you should have a big number and a small number, and then you just take the difference from the balance sheet and you move it over, and you should get the same answer, right? You should get what you do, 6 and 14. So these numbers should now be equal, which they are. Okay, and those are your final totals. Okay, so that's how the worksheet works. So your whole point of doing this is for you basically, what you're doing, change the color here. What you're doing is you are updating your capital account right here, right? You're updating it to reflect that you've made money by selling more than than expenses incurred. So basically, this is at the end of the month. You've made money that's recorded on the income statement. The income statement then gets added to the balance sheet, which means you have more on your credit side because it wasn't high enough to reflect the transactions that were happening already on the debit side. So like as you went through business during the month of November, you would have put more cash in there. You would have had more accounts receivable maybe. All those things would have thrown the balance sheet out of balance, sorry. And so how you deal with that is you go through this whole worksheet and then you add your income statement amount to your balance sheet, and then you've got a balance total. So these two numbers should be the same, which they are. So we're all good. Okay, so look for more examples for you to work through on D2L, and let me know if you have any questions. See you later.